You're listening to episode 188 of the Small Supercharged Podcast with Ria Freeman. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Small Supercharged Podcast with me. It is a solo episode and this is a subject that I keep talking to people about. Lots of different people when we discuss business, and it's one that I think is a little bit controversial, and I'm not saying it to be controversial. I'm saying it to open up a discussion because I've actually seen both sides of the coin really come to the fore over the last couple of years, and that is about money. And should it always be about money what we do? Now, there is obviously a big trend to talk about making 5, 6, 7 figures, to have 5-figure months, 6-figure months, whatever. And I completely get it. Depending on, particularly you see this with coaches and service providers often. It's something that was particularly strong, more I would say with American brands, but I have seen more and more British people doing it. This isn't a criticism at all. But I just want to sort of talk about it really, because I've spoken to lots of different people about this, and it's really interesting to hear the responses. And I just thought it was worth sharing a bit. And it's not saying you shouldn't want to make 5, 6, 7 figures. Whatever you want to do, you crack on and do an amazing job of it. But I also wanted to say that if you don't feel that you have to make that amount of money to lead a really, really happy life, don't discount that either. This is not a normal business podcast, is it? But, stick with me here, because I think it's important. We're seeing more and more of it, and a lot of people become quite overwhelmed, quite disillusioned, quite miserable about it, because if they are nowhere near that, it can feel like a big old leap. Anyway, and that is what you have to reach. That is what you have to get to be happy and successful. And I simply don't believe that's the case. If for you, your success is attributed to what you turn over in a month, not profit, what you turn over, that's obviously your measure of success. But that doesn't mean it has to be everyone's measure of success. And if you're listening to this thinking, well, no, mine is completely different, then good for you. This podcast isn't so much about whether or not you should be tying your entire business to a monetary based goal. This is particularly for service based providers. I think if you are in retail, if you're in the habit of selling physical product, I think it's different. I think that because you're not having to, you're having to do more packing or picking or ordering, but with a service based provider, there's only so many hours in the day. And that either means that you charge more, or you come up with a passive income stream, or you do a mixture of the two. And passive in inverted commas. I've got a podcast coming out soon about passive income, which is really, really good. I really like it. It's an interview. So you have to kind of decide what you want to do. And I think when we start our businesses, we're all at this kind of build phase, which is important. It's important to build up your clients. But there's also a point, I think, when you're in this building phase, when you have got, enough clients to be fairly comfortable, maybe that's the wrong word, but happy with where you are, to try to take a step back and think, is this what you want to be continuing to do? Because if you're directly trading time for money, there's only a certain amount of that you can do. And, everybody, I think I know, we work for a purpose. Like, I love my work and I love working with my clients, and I really do enjoy the work I do. So I guess I'm a slight exception, but I know of many people who just work, not really people that I work with closely, but more people who are employed, who work for that paycheck to go and do what they love. But particularly if you're self-employed, obviously you have got the luxury in inverted commas of being able to design that life that you want and have that mix of when you work and when you don't. But when we see so much messaging that's only connected to what number, how many figures a month our income is, then that can make people feel like they're not doing enough and encourage them to overwork and encourage them to burn out. Now, the first thing I want to point out, and this is one that I talk about a lot, a boring amount, is profit versus turnover. So if someone says they are making 6 figures a month, they could well be having that as profit. I don't know. I don't look at other people's books. I've got no interest in it. I don't even like looking at my own. But what we need to be making sure is that if we are trying to compare ourselves to somebody, that we are comparing ourselves on the same figures. Because for me, it wouldn't really matter what I was turning over. The really important bit for me is the profit. And I've worked very hard to keep my overheads really, really low, so I make more profit for what I do. Other people who have got greater overheads will make less profit, and we could do the same amount of work. Actually, they could do 3, 4, 5 times more work than I did, for example, and earn a whole lot less that they take home to the bank. So we need to make sure we're looking at the same things, but also we need to think about what do we need? And I don't just mean need to get by day to day, but what do you need to achieve your big goals and dreams? And through working yourself incredibly hard, if that's where you're going, is that going to help you in or take away from it? Now, of course, we all have to work very hard in the short term of things to get businesses going. If you've got a project on, you have to really put your foot down. But we hear so much about burnout, about exhaustion, about people who are working away and then they are just done with it because they have completely overdone themselves. And then you have to think that, is it worth taking a bit of a step back? And I often liken this to a performance horse, actually. You know, if we had a really, really good performance horse that was out competing at the top level, would you make it go to a competition every day? You wouldn't, because it would be broken. So it's important to kind of preserve yourself a bit. So obviously the financial side is one thing, and it's important to make money. Money does make the world go round indeed. We all need to pay our bills. We all need to buy things that we like. We need to pay for pensions, and we need to pay for tax, and we need to do all these grown-up things. And we really do need to do that. We need to make sure we are earning enough money. We are living well beyond, within our means. And, it's nice to make money. It makes you feel secure. It gives you more options and it gives you more freedom. But if you are at the point where you are just trying to compete with people you don't know the full story of when it comes to money, just take a breather on that. Just for me, just take a bit of a breather on that. Because one of the things that I think we've learned during the last 2 years is that what really matters to people when everything gets stripped back and taken away is not necessarily all the material stuff. It's not the things you can buy. It's the time you spend with your loved ones. It's the time you spend with your horse, your family. I should have put this in a different order. Your horse, your dogs, your friends, your family, or whichever order. They're the things that matter. They're the things that when they all get taken away from you matter. When you couldn't do anything, when you were in lockdown, what did you miss the most? Did you miss being able to go and buy a new pair of shoes? I don't know. And I like a good boot. I do like a good boot. Did you miss being able to go and do that? Or did you miss being able to... What did you miss? And I think that's really telling. It's really interesting to see. Or what did you really enjoy? Did you find that being more present, that hanging out with your family more, that spending more time outside, riding, walking, simple things ticked the box? Because if we know what we're working towards, and this is one of the reasons why, it's important to have what we're aiming for, because I know I have been guilty of this, is that if you don't have a goal, and it can be whatever goal, it doesn't have to be that you're making 6 figures. It could be that you want to work 3 days a week. It could be that you want to do a specific thing. But if you don't know what you're aiming for, it's very difficult to know when you're there or to know when you're on course, because you don't have a course, because you don't have an end plan. It's a bit like the SMART goal setting method, which we could debate all day, but we've all got lives to lead, which is really good with things like advertising, because SMART means specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. But the really key bit there is measurable and specific. And if we can measure our own achievements, what we are earning against our goal, because we've got a specific goal, that's really cool. That's really good. So it is important. And I think just taking a step back and thinking about what matters to you, what's important for you. Is it the lifestyle? Is it that you want to be able to ride first thing in the morning, take the dog out for a walk at lunchtime, do stables at night, and get home and have a nice evening with your family? Is it that you want to do the school drop off and pick up every day or most days? Is it that you want to buy something huge? Is it what you want to pay your house off? You don't want to have a mortgage. What is it? And it doesn't mean that you can't pay your mortgage off and have a lifestyle that you want, depending on lots of different factors. But it is important to look at what the end goal is. What would you really like your life to be like? It might be that you really love working all the time, and it really is the thing that excites and inspires you. It might be that you don't feel like you need any time off to become even more excited or inspired. See, for me, and I have absolutely been in that habit of just working. And then a few things just made me really start to think about how I wanted to be, perhaps spending my time a bit more. And it's actually quite empowering when you think about what you want your life to look like. And rather than going for a big money goal that you don't have a time limit on how much work you have to do to earn it, to think about how much you can earn in the amount of time you're prepared to give, and making sure you're giving 100% is really cool. Looking at really interesting opportunities and allowing yourself to indulge in those is great, because if you're really just focused on money, you will take every opportunity. And if you are more focused on kind of what it brings to the party, how it makes you feel, how exciting that is, you perhaps look at different opportunities, which gives you a lot more, from a personal point of view, I can do work for money. But when I'm doing something that really excites me, that really lights me up, I will be thinking about it. In my opinion, I will do an exceptional job because I really am into it. And I would rather do those projects than the ones that only make money. I hand on heart turn a lot of stuff away, because if it doesn't light me up, I'm just not interested. I would much rather have that quality of how I spend my working time rather than dreading coming into the office. And being self-employed, I've got that luxury, which I'm very lucky for. Very, very lucky. But I think we need to take a step back. What is important to you? Is it all about the money? If it is, that's fine. You do you. But if it's not, if you want different things out of life, that's fine too. Happiness can't be undervalued. Health can't be undervalued. Again, we've seen that over the last 2 years. Having that work-life balance, spending time with your children, with your family members, with your animals, having that sort of self-care time, spending time with your friends, going on a walk and just laughing like mad people, is really important. This week in the Freeman household, we've had 2 children with COVID, which has been a right laugh. She says, recording this, hoping to Christ we've just stopped that now and no one else is going to get it. But even just being, obviously I could go out because I've got 2 jabs and a booster and I'm testing negative. But feeling like you have to stay in the house again, you start thinking about what you really missed. And the thing I really missed at the weekend was going walking with one of my best friends. We have a chat, we have a giggle. It's not expensive. I've got a car pass to the Forestry Commission, so I have that for my Christmas present every year. It's lovely. So much value out of that, by the way. But I really missed that. We have a walk round, we have a good giggle, we eat some cake. It's just lovely. And it's not expensive. It costs me the cost of the fuel to get there, which is not much, and cake or tea. And to be honest, I could take my own, but I don't. That's the stuff to me that really matters. It's not going out for really expensive food or buying really, really expensive things. Although she says eyeing up a new MacBook, but that's a work tool. That is a work tool. It's just important. It's just important to think about what you're prepared to do, what you're happy to do. And also from the financial side of it, if you speak to an accountant about, when different things kick in like VAT and all those fun things as well, particularly if you're service based, there's a whole different side of things to go with that in terms of how much extra you'd have to charge your clients or how much extra work you would have to do in order to earn more or the same as you were doing before. I'm not an accountant though. Go and speak to an accountant about that. So there's loads of different aspects to cover, and really I just wanted to have a quick chat about it. It's something that I'm getting into conversations about more and more with people, looking for that proper work-life balance where their work and their life kind of work together, where they can do all they want from the life perspective, but they really, really enjoy and are excited about the work they do and don't feel that either is a sort of, is an albatross around your neck? I feel like there was a poem about that. Is it The Mariner's Tale? Or am I thinking of something completely different? It's a great thing with these podcasts. Half English literature, half who even knows. But I think looking for that balance is really important. Being able to say to a friend, yes, I will come for a cup of coffee with you in the cup of tea with you in the day. I'll do this, and then I'll come and we'll have a lovely time. Just is what life's about, really. It's about those moments that really enrich it. And I think that if there's anything I'm going for more in 2022, it's definitely that. It's how to do work that really, really matters. And I'm really lucky with the coaching clients I've got at the moment, and the masterminders are incredible, and I adore the work I do with them all. Really lucky. But rather than taking on projects that, I know I've said before about the power of saying no. Was that the last podcast or the one before? Can't remember. About the power of saying no to things to free us up for the yeses. The yeses can also be about quality of life, really, about the things that you do in your life that make it worthwhile, and learning tools, learning tricks to help you do that, but also not becoming fixated on the vanity metric that is turnover. Become more interested in profit. As I said, this is definitely one more for service-based providers. I think if you're selling a product, it is different. If you are providing a service, you have to look at the time versus money juggle. If you have got more of a, in brackets, passive income stream, that's really great because it's a one-to-many model, which is different. You can make more money without having to give a bit more time, but not masses of time extra. And that can be really, really beneficial too. Anyway, I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Should it be all about the money? I feel like I might call it something like that, thinking you're channeling Jessie J and price tag. I'm not going to sing. I'm not going to put that on you. But should it be all about the money, or should it be something else? And this isn't to say we're not in business to make money. We are in business to make money. All of us are. But is there a point when we also want to get different things from the life that we lead and have some balance and have some time for self-care and the things that we love to almost preserve us moving forward, to be able to do a job that we love at a high level for a long time? It's a talking point. I know there are people that make an absolute fortune on more passive income models, on things like courses, and like all power to them. This is definitely not a criticism of anybody, whether you are earning huge amounts of money, whether you are not. It's just to kind of open up a discussion about it, really, because I think that we get so pushed down this route of 6 figures, 7 figures, with a lot of the messaging. And if you follow a group of kind of people on social media, it's all about the 6, 7, 8, 5, whatever figure months, years, months. Or there's often the other side, which is completely the other way. I'm much more in the happy middle. That's where I want to be. I've got a plan. It's working quite well. I like the plan. It ticks all the boxes and frees my mind up for lots of other projects and exciting things as well. But I would love to know your thoughts. Is it all about the money? Please do, as always, screenshot and share to stories if you tune in, and let me know what you think. You can say I'm wrong. I'm good with that too. It's definitely just a discussion point. And just perhaps to show a bit of a different light on it all. Profit always over turnover though. That's just the basics of how the whole game works for me anyway. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If you want to know more about Mastermind, which I've mentioned even a few times, which is my awesome membership group with some incredible business ladies and gents in the equestrian and rural space, all designed to help you learn more about social media, PR, marketing, and help your business grow. We also have a monthly mindset masterclass, a social media critique for one member. We have social media trainings, marketing masterclasses, weekly lives, opportunities, some absolute corkers have gone in over the last few weeks, and loads more. Please do hop on over to riafreemanpr.co.uk and you will see Small and Supercharged Mastermind at the top. It'd be awesome to have you in the group, and if you are not yet a member of the free group, make sure you check that out too. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you are staying well, keeping safe, and we will catch up next week. Take care.